Why do you keep doing it right when I have to burp?
Why do you have to burp all of the time, constantly?
I just ate a shitload of watermelon.
What? That's not known to make people burp excessively.
I go a lot of air when I eat.
Welcome to Read It and Screech for my big sister Emily. Wait.
It feels stupid as shit, doesn't it?
Let me do it again.
It's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
I was like, did you write me a note as a surprise?
No, it's horrible. Wait till you get to the other ones. Don't read them.
Literally like, oh my god, you wrote me a note as a surprise, and this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. Welcome to Read It and Screech, the podcast for my big sister Emily, without whose enthusiasm this story might still be unfinished.
And you know what? The world thanks Emily, because we would all be sad without it.
This is Read It and Screech, the plot summary podcast.
Well, welcome to Twilight the Experience. It's like a,
Did you do the statistics?
It's like a reward.
Did you write the statistics about it?
No, I didn't.
I knew you were going to do a shit job.
First off, no. I did an amazing job because...
We don't know how many pages. We don't know how many minutes the audiobook is. We don't know.
No, we don't. Because that's not what the experience is. This was done...
A fully immersive experience.
This is a fully immersive experience. This is a multinational blockbuster movie. And most of this lives in my brain rent-free.
Well, also, we don't have to go through who plays which character.
Because we already know.
Hollywood already know for us.
So, I have a lot of things to tell you that are so important.
Okay.
First off, I have so many things to tell you before we do the book. So many things. There's 6 books.
God damn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half.
Oh, yeah, because that girl that died.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there is Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, Life and Death, Midnight Sun, and then The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. There was originally only 4 books, and then...
Why are you yelling at him?
Because I'm yelling! This is what I do when I explain things.
So
this
now,
is my explaining voice!
So now you can talk loudly?
Because I'm explaining!
And close to the computer, but all the other times you had to, like, talk like this and burp a little bit.
Life and Death is literally... I didn't read it. I've never read it, because...
How are you going to do a plot summary if you've never read it?
This is the plot summary of Life and Death. Are you ready? Life and Death...
Wait. Did they live and die?
Yeah. Life and Death was literally... Are you ready? Twilight, gender bent. She just switched Bella and Edward. She made one the girl and one the boy.
Was it exactly the same otherwise?
Yeah.
Were all the characters gender bent?
No.
Or just them two?
Just them. And then,
okay.
So the whole big premise of Twilight is...
So who had the...
No, listen. So Twilight, the first book, which I'm going to do for you in a minute, there is Why
are you making so much eye contact?
There is an opportunity, because I'm explaining!
Okay, go ahead.
There's an opportunity for him to save her at the end of Twilight or turn her into a vampire, and he saves her instead. The whole premise of Life and Death is the girl vampire turns the dude into a vampire, and therefore the whole saga doesn't have to continue.
Oh.
So that is that. Midnight Sun.
So she was clearly smarter.
Right. We're smarter, not harder.
She saved 5 books worth of turmoil.
Yeah, and Bree Tanner would have lived. The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner is this big, and is literally
For the listeners at home, that was about the size of an orbit, the width of an orbit stick of gum.
It is. I do appreciate that she wrote the Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, because I slow key. Like, I'm always like, why is there nothing about NPC? Like, a person who didn't matter at all, and was just like, oh, this person rammed through my life and killed me. So that did happen.
I can tell you the answer to that. Because the person didn't matter at all.
Okay, well, some of us are NPC characters, and so I wanted to know.
I wouldn't know.
Midnight Sun. This is really important. Are you ready? I did a whole page on this because, are you ready?
God damn. Okay.
Stephenie Meyer set the scene. She was writing Midnight Sun.
And someone stole it, right?
From Edward's point of view, everyone was creaming their jeans, desperate to read it.
Oh, gross!
Not even kidding. Someone she knows steals it, puts it on the World Wide Web.
Creaming their jeans, or were they bleeding their jeans?
Puts it on the World Wide Web. She knows, based on how many chapters this person put out, who she gave it to because she gave a different amount to everyone she knows, so she knows who did it.
So that's kind of, isn't that, what do they call it when the police trap you? Entrapment.
No, that's what people do to they're like, oh, can you read this for me? Like, ARC readers, blah, blah, blah. But she gave, like, everyone had, like, a different copy. So she knows, based on that, like, who did it. Boo. So then, on her website, she just released however much she had. It was only, like, 13 chapters or whatever. We lost our fucking minds. She's so upset, she says she's not gonna finish it. We are all devastated. She posts the little she has on her website and doesn't finish it for like 10 years. I printed it at the library. I still have it.
Aren't you part of the problem?
No, she printed it. She put it on her website. She put it up. Bitch, fuck you.
The one who released
No, I read what was there. I read what was there. She was like, no, so you don't read the pirated shit. Here's what I have.
I have a question.
Fuck off.
I have a question. So she started writing Midnight Sun, blah, blah, blah.
She didn't call it Midnight Sun.
Trifling people.
She was like Twilight from Edward's point of view. And we were like,
Whatever.
Yes.
Did she, instead of releasing that, she released the gender bent one?
Mm-hmm. It was
look
awful.
Look
what you did. It was so bad.
And then
for the 10-year anniversary, that's what came out. And we were all mad
and then
as
commemorating that, Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do."
Right. So
released.
that was the big drama.
Okay.
So that is the description of the books. So now you know.
Okay.
Important fan fictions that came from this.
Oh, God.
As we know.
50
50 Shades of Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I don't really know where you went from just like, oh, he's richer and has more money. I don't know what that was about.
I was literally thinking the other day, I was like, they're in high school. How did you get this, like,
she just wanted them
BDSM corporate?
Well, here's the thing. So there was not, like, any fucking in Twilight. And here's the thing. So, like,
she said, I want to be the change.
She was,
see
yeah,
the world.
be the change she wanted to see.
I'm gonna do
she was
the
just
smut I wanna
basically
see in the
mad that
world.
they weren't, like, old enough and fucking hardcore until the last book. So I didn't realize that she was a Mormon till I was a grown adult.
Oh, we're getting to the parts I'm going to have to cut out. I see.
That is an integral part of the story.
We're getting into editing territory.
You will see that in a moment that it should have been obvious to me, but I didn't know.
And we're probably just...
I was just like, oh, what a nice young man. I was like, what?
What a chaste couple.
Mom was like, don't read those books. And I was like, why? They don't even fuck. I was very confused.
What a nice
I was like, he wants to wait till they're married. You should like this book. And then people were like, she's super Mormon, and that's why there's these weird undertones in this book. And I was like, oh.
I have to tell you something. By the way, I went to, for the readers at home, to a Christian school, and one of my teachers was obsessed with Twilight.
A lot of people are.
My teacher was, though, and I was like...
You're gonna love some of this.
Oh, my mom won't let me read that. And she was like, why? They don't even have sex.
Right. That's a lot of people are like, why?
You're gonna love... like, they're waiting. Isn't
you're
that
gonna love it. There's some parts that you're gonna love. So then, we have another really important part, which is, how did 9/11 cause Twilight, you ask, which in turn caused 50 Shades of Grey? Now this, there's some controversy. Because allegedly,
like
if you do the 1, 2, 3,
it has the ingredients.
If you do the 1, 2, 3, it goes Gerard Way of MCR, which is My Chemical Romance, for those of you who don't do that, saw the Twin Towers fall from a ferry on his way to New York or in the ocean, and then he started My Chemical Romance because he had a desk job, and he was like, oh, life is short, I'm gonna go sing.
Oh, I thought that was older than that, actually.
No. And it was 20 years ago.
I know, I'm like fresh out of high school.
And then Stephenie Meyer, now this is allegedly, are you listening to this?
Yes, I'm listening.
Stephenie Meyer loved My Chemical Romance so much that she was like listening to it and was writing Twilight to like banger, My Chemical Romance. Mm-hmm. And then she was writing Twilight, and then E.L. James was like, I love Twilight so much, I'm gonna write fan fiction, here's 50 Shades of Grey. And so, like, that's how 9/11 caused 50 Shades of Grey, is, like, the story.
You started this out by saying that Twilight caused 9/11. I'm not gonna, I have to make sure that you are aware, and that's why I had a pause. And I was like, oh, let you finish? 9/11
caused Twilight. I have
wow,
a learning learning disabilities. So also, but if you are an intelligent human, you will read one of her book dedications. I'm not going to tell you which one yet because it's important. But she says, my very favorite band, Muse, not My Chemical Romance. So I was like, wait a second. So I don't know about that. But this is what all of the Reddit say.
Okay.
Okay, so then my last bit on this fun facts says, it is very important to note she named all of the wolves in the indigenous people group after her family.
Is she indigenous?
No.
Okay.
No, she hit some wrong points on that as well.
Okay.
But
Nice
you don't notice till you read all the books, but then you go back and read all of her, and you realize,
so Emily's a wolf?
Yes.
Okay.
Emily's a wolf, and then all the other people you're going to recognize in the things are also.
Okay.
So, that is some stuff.
So technically each book is dedicated to a wolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except one.
Okay.
So then we have important characters.
Are we going to read another dedication?
You want to read all the dedications right now?
I'm just kidding, I don't.
This is for you only. Oh, this one is not for you. This is just in general.
I was like, I'm so ready.
People gather and reenact their wedding.
No.
And it's done like film
accurate. They don't.
People think it's a real wedding. And they do it several times. It's called the
Where?
Something
like
in Forks.
Okay, so it's not just like, oh, it's, Cinco
You
de
can
Mayo
look it
in my
up.
own home. It's like they go to the place.
They go there. No, there's a group of people. It's a band of actors who reenact. They reenact several things, but they very specifically do the wedding. And when people get into like that acting troupe, they're like super excited.
Or do they get paid to do it?
I think they're volunteers.
No.
But they do the wedding.
So they use their own PTO for it?
When people, they live in the town, but like, when they post it, everyone thinks it's a real wedding. They're like, you had a wedding just like that. And they're like, no, that's the wedding.
Oh, okay.
The fucking...
Like, how'd you talk your boyfriend into that?
Right. No, because the wedding scene is like, it's kind of like the one from Crazy Rich Asians. You remember when they like walked out on the water and shit? It's like fancy as fuck.
Into it. He
would be like all in, bitch.
He would piss himself with joy to marry.
Now this one is for you.
It wasn't the weird...
The wedding fact? No. So, purity culture. I did not realize that she was a Mormon, and that is why there is no sex until they were married. And then I was like confused why people cared about the teenagers reading the books. So here are the characters. The bad guys for this book are Laurent.
Laurent? Is he a vampire?
He's a vampire.
Okay.
James. Also a vampire.
Okay.
Victoria.
A vampire?
Also a vampire. Victoria is the bad guy for the entire series. Or is a bad guy. Oh, a bad guy for the entire series.
Okay.
We have Bella.
Obviously.
Her dad, Charlie.
I don't know why I thought Charlie was like a love interest for her.
Ew. Her mom, who I don't actually remember if they ever reference her name.
Is she not dead?
Her name is Renee. Renee.
Is she not dead?
No.
Oh. Why are you acting like, no, I should have known.
We see her a lot.
I've literally never seen her.
Renee is married to Phil, the traveling baseball player who you never fucking see. Charlie is single until the third or fourth book, and then he snipes the wife of a dead guy. Her name is Susan.
Do you think they wait till they're married to fuck?
I didn't ask.
Yeah, because no one really gives a shit if you're over 30. They just don't want young, attractive people to have sex.
Okay, so then we have Prince Edward. Next.
Prince Edward? Is he a vampire too?
He's not Prince. I just call him that because everyone loves him.
Is he a vampire too?
Edward is a vampire. Who are you? He's on the cover of the book. Bella's not a vampire. This is book one.
Sorry.
Who sold you crack?
That was genuine curiosity.
Edward, the vampire the book is about.
Edward, is he a main character?
These are all vampires.
Sorry.
Vampires.
Everyone except for Bella is a vampire.
These are humans, the people we all just talked about.
Get ready to have your socks rocked with how little I know
These
about
are all
this.
vampires.
Okay.
Edward, Alice, Jasper, Rosalie, and Emmett.
Yes.
Carlisle and Esme are the vampire parents.
But Esme
They're
was her
adopted.
weird Loch Ness monster daughter.
Esme and Renee. Renesmee.
Oh,
it's the worst fucking thing I've ever heard. So when people name their kid after that, I'm like, wait, that's not your mom you named it after. It's these people's fake mom. I'm confused.
Okay, so Edward is a vampire. Bella's not a vampire.
Alice and Jasper are together. Rosalie and Emmett
Alice and Jasper? Wasn't Jasper a Confederate soldier?
Yes, he was! That's important.
I don't know Edward's a vampire, but I know Jasper was a Confederate soldier.
That's the thing we have to talk about in a minute. Okay. The wolves are Jacob and Billy. This woman, this actress, is married to Ian Somerhalder.
I don't give a fuck. Keep going.
Those are hot people. Excuse you. That's Damon from The Vampire Diaries. Married her. They're both vampires. They married each other. It's good. Okay. It's a thing. Okay. These are the people she named after her family.
Seth and Emily.
Seth, Eli, Gabe are her sons. Emily's her sister.
Okay.
These are her school friends. Jessica, Tyler, Angela, Mike.
There are way too many people.
There's a lot, but I'm just showing them to you because we're going to reference them.
We're going through the whole yearbook.
They're going to reference them. You're going to ask who they are. Okay. The thing that's really interesting...
Wait, before you get into this.
Oh my god.
Let me tell you there's only 2 instances in which I know Twilight. When you and I legally saw the second film, and whenever this girl came over to sleep over, she was obsessed with Twilight, and she brought the last book with her, and I sneak and I read the last page. It said something about our piece of forever.
Yeah. So here's the thing that's interesting. So Twilight, Life and Death, and Midnight Sun are all the same book.
Sorry, Twilight,
Life and Death, and Midnight Sun are all the same book.
Oh, that's lazy.
They're just... Now,
and I bet you she made millions on each one.
Midnight Sun is bigger because he, thinks a lot more than she does. And you get, a lot more... And she had, way longer to write it. So, notable thing that happens in the movie, you see Stephenie Meyers. She's eaten in the diner. Okay. They put her in there.
She's eating or she's eaten?
Yeah, she's eating. It would have been funny if she was eating.
Please specify.
She's eating.
Okay.
Also, I think it's good to note, I did think it was really well written. Here's the thing, though. He cannot eat her tampons. That's what everyone's like, why can't he just eat tampons?
Why can't he?
Because the internet consensus is because that's dead blood and he can only eat live blood. But here's my
dead blood question
to that is, how the fuck she have a baby? Because then his sperm would be dead sperm. So explain that to me. If that's dead, if the tampon blood's dead, because someone was like, why can't he do shooters out of her tampon shit? And that's why he can't eat her or whatever.
So tampons often have uterine mass, the lining.
Okay, we don't have to be gross. There's also apparently a fan film about the mom and her weird story. People who are obsessed with the mom, it gives me I gotta sign Kevin Jonas because I'm the same age as him, but I don't like him that much. Now people are like, oh, Kevin Jonas is talented.
I had 2 best friends, and the Jonas brothers had 3 brothers, and I ended up with Kevin because my friends took the other kids.
Right. Now people are like, oh, he's talented. Oh, he can do a lot. But at the time, people were like, he's the wrong age for me to like him, or I'm the wrong age to like the other one. Because, Nick Jonas is 12 and I'm 16, so I have to like the brother.
I don't know why you disclaimed any of that. No one still likes Kevin.
No, people like him now.
Because they feel bad.
No,
people have just gotten some empathy.
He's good at the guitar and shit. Here is your list of how everyone died to become a vampire.
Oh my god.
Edward died of the Spanish flu.
SAT prep.
You asked. Edward died of the flu.
Okay. How?
None of these are good.
How embarrassing.
I actually don't remember how Carlisle died a million years ago. The Volturi turned him. Jasper was a Confederate soldier who was lured and killed by a Southern lady.
Good for her.
Not good for him, though.
So was she a vampire?
Yes!
Was it Alice?
No!
So
Alice?
he's not even with her anymore?
Alice? No, they're together.
He's not with the lady who turned him?
No!
She did him that favor and he's not with her?
That's not a favor.
Typical Confederate
She lured him
soldier.
into a barn and they all jumped on him. It was not good.
It sounds good. How are you going to hold yourself morally superior to the Confederacy? Or as the Confederacy, hold yourself morally superior to
I don't remember if she was helping the Confederacy or if she was just eating them all. I don't remember.
Hey, we didn't want to eat the people.
So here, Emmett, The big dude. Did you watch The Revenant?
No.
Oh, he was killed Revenant style by a bear. He like
I don't know what that means.
A bear like launched him off a cliff or something.
So when they turn to vampires, do like they regenerate?
Yeah.
So like,
and
if
then they're like chiseled marble. Is
so
what they say.
If you were, for example, torn to ribbons, would you mend back together? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly. So then Esme, the mom. Okay.
I thought Renee was the mom.
Renee is Bella's mom. Esme is the vampire's mom.
Edward's mom?
Yeah. Okay. The adopted mom. She adopted all these people. She wanted to be a mom so bad.
His real mom probably died of the flu too.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did.
So who turned him?
Carlisle turned all these people.
What's wrong with Carlisle? Patient zero?
He's a doctor. Okay. And all these things happened to them and he tried to save all of them, and when it didn't work.
He wasn't a good doctor.
No, he's a really good doctor. But then these are all people because of these things, he felt pity for them. And Edward was the first one, and he fucked up. And he was trying. I think he was initially was trying to use the venom to like maybe it would save them, and it didn't. And then he was like, "Fuck." Now Rosalie, they turned, and she never forgave them. She did not like it. She didn't want it. She was like, "Fuck y'all." And
0 stars.
Until they turned to Emmett, and Emmett is the love of her life, so she was mad as fuck till she got him. So Esme was dying of some tuberculosis. Who fucking knows? When she was like
Spanish flu?
No, not that. That was the other dude. When she was 14, and this angelic-looking doctor came and saved her and went away.
Doesn't that mean she's 14 forever?
Wait. He healed her, but then she was in love with him. And then when she was 25, she was married to a piece of shit. Her baby died. And then she went to off herself, I believe. He and Edward found her. And then when they saved her, Edward was like, oh, she's in love with you and remembers you from when you saved her from before. So they kept her. And then...
So can other people not read minds?
No.
Oh, I thought all vampires could read minds.
No. Sometimes you have a special thing, sometimes you don't. Alice and Edward are the only ones who have special things in this group.
What are the rules?
I just told you. Sometimes you have a special thing, sometimes you don't.
So he saved her and made her his mom?
Carlisle saved her. They're married. These are all their kids. Edward is 17 forever and just dirt.
But why so Edward read her mind? He said, Mom's in love with you, Dad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
Right? Alice died in the dark in an insane asylum. So she had visions even when she was alive, and they were like, "You're insane," and they threw her in a hole.
But she wasn't insane. She just could see the future.
Right. And so she was living in a hole, and she's like...
That was her spiritual.
They don't tell you how old she is. They always just tell you that she's small. So she could be like 14. We don't fucking know. This old vampire found her, like raided the asylum and took her and turned her into a vampire. And then she's just tripping around the world until she ran into Jasper, who was a Confederate war dude. And she was like, by the way, we're supposed to be together.
Okay, so we still haven't started the first Twilight.
This is most of it. Jasper is also special. I forgot. When you stand near him, he can make you feel really mad or really happy or really sad. And then Rosalie, this is the best one. She was the prettiest person in the whole wide world. She had a fiance. The fiance, the night before they were supposed to get married, she was like walking home and he got super hammered with all his friends and was like, come here, come talk to me. And she was like, no. And he was like, yeah. And then they just murdered her in the road. Edward and Carlisle found her and they were like, oh my God. And they saved her. And then
her own fiance killed her?
Yeah.
Because he wanted to fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
All bad, right? All bad. Terrible things. She got dressed up in her wedding dress and went back and murdered them all!
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was good.
Good for her.
Yeah. So that was why we saved that one for last. So there you go. There's that. Okay. This is all in the little book jacket. It says, summary. When 17-year-old Bella leaves Phoenix to live...
Wait, you can use your regular voice.
No, I have to use tiny words. 17-year-old Bella leaves Phoenix to live with her father in Forks, Washington. She meets an exquisitely handsome stranger at school for whom she feels an overwhelming attraction and who she comes to realize is not wholly human.
Question. If she's so attracted, but they're not allowed to think, feel, or hear sex, what is she attracted to him for?
Exactly. No, she's always like...
She just want to ooze in his aura.
No, she's always like, hey, you want to fuck? And he's like, no. All the time.
The one. Okay.
Yeah. So, starting off with a bang, we have a Bible verse. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, and for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:17. She starts with a flash forward. This is a whole ass spoiler, and it just says that if I knew that I would be facing death now, I wouldn't have changed my decision to move to Forks. Her mom drives her to Forks. Bill got a job with a traveling baseball team, and she needs to finish her last 2 years of high school. Her mother is a scatterbrain, and her dad cannot cook for shit, so she's clearly the adult in the whole scenario. Charlie gives her the world's ugliest truck. Orange. They really, really, really needed us to know that only 357, now 358 people, including her, go to the high school. She remarks on her paleness and goes to school. I'm going to hand you the page with all the people on it so that when I read a person and you go, who's that? You can just look at that.
Who's Edward?
Fuck off. Okay, because I'm going to say she meets the friends.
Okay.
And you see the category that says friends? She spots the Cullens. They sit at their own table at lunch. She does the who are they scene.
Who are they?
So they're like eating lunch. She goes, who are they? And then the friends go, those are the Cullens. And they explain what I just explained to you, which is who everybody is and how they died. No, they don't tell them how they died.
Say they do?
No, they just tell them who they are.
That's
and
Edward, he died of the Spanish flu.
She goes, they're adopted. And then Edward looks at her and kind of wrinkles his nose because she smells funny. But we know it's because she smells good. Then she runs into him in the office, and he's trying to change his schedule because he doesn't want to have class with her.
Same.
He spent the whole class smelling her. She smells good, and that makes him mad because he doesn't want to eat people. They only eat animals. So, like, vampires' eyes are red when they eat people, and they're yellow when they eat animals.
A follow-up question. Why not just quit school?
Because they're bored as fuck.
Yeah, but that's the only thing you can find in the entire world.
No, they've done lots of stuff. They've gone to school a bunch of times. They've gone to college sometimes.
Yeah, and instead of you've got your whole life ahead of you and behind you.
No, they just sometimes they come here and they go to school for a while. Sometimes they go do other shit. This is just what they're doing now.
Why not just drop out? If you're like, oh, I'm gonna eat this person.
Because when they're in
don't go to school anymore.
They're in town, and Carlisle's working at the hospital, and they want to stay here for a while. This is their favorite house that they live in, and if they don't go to school, everyone will know. Also, they're only, like, part-time they go to school. The rest of the time, they pretend they're homeschooled and they go camping whenever the sun's too bright.
So you literally don't have to be there, and you're making this hubbub about changing classes.
Tries not to cry all the way home.
Because this guy that she saw at lunch one time doesn't want to have class with her.
Because he was, like, rude as shit in the office. Number 2, the open book. It rains all the time. Her mom keeps sending her emails. She asks her dad about the Cullens. Oh, what about those people? It starts snowing because the weather is turning.
Okay.
He does not come to school for several days. Wonder why. And then, boom, he's at lunch again. Wow. He catches her staring at him. That's the worst thing that I can imagine. I hated it. He talks to her in the science class. They have science class together. That's primarily where he talks to her and smells her and stuff. He knows her whole name. He knows to call her Bella, not Isabel, which means he been asking about her. His hands are hella cold. Wonder why. She wants him to think she's smart, so she pretends she has not taken this class before, and she has.
So she just pretends like it comes naturally?
Yeah, she was just like, oh, I just know this. And he was like, me too. They both take this class before.
They have more in common than they thought.
Right, they've both done this before. This is like a giant, stupid, what the fuck? His eyes are a different color, and she goes, oh, wait a second, why are your eyes golden? You're not being an asshole. And he goes, what? It's the fluorescence. Lots of people made a shirt that said, it's just the fluorescence.
I hate it when that happens.
He asks about her mom, and then the weather, and like he's trying to make small talk. He implies he's just really good at reading people. Reading their minds.
He's very good at it.
He then runs away right after class because she smells. Turns out he's just like holds his breath when he's around her, or like is just trying to like, okay, I can do this. She drives home and sees him just like mad laughing in his car, and we don't know why. She goes to school. It's icy. Caption, all of the boys in this school are in love with her, and she is fending them off with a stick.
Okay. Well, yeah, she's a new toy.
And that's why he's laughing every time she sees him, because they keep trying to like ask her out, and like Kate, like, and he's just like, because he can hear them like doing that. She's looking at her tires. One of the guys who loves her, even though he just met her, speeding through the parking lot. Car slides towards her, and she's standing between his car and her car. Edward is like, fuck!
Why?
Because he's standing across the parking lot, and he's about to watch her get smooshed. And so he... Ooh, even though he's not supposed to do that.
So sometimes you have to use words instead of sound effects.
I don't even know what the sound of, what is that? He runs like
there you go.
Runs at the speed of Zippity Zap Light over and saves her.
Okay.
Twice because the car was gonna smush her, and then it goes to smush her again. Like, he goes, bang, bang. And then she goes, how'd you get over here so fast? And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I was standing right there. And she goes, no, you weren't, because I was staring at you. And he goes, and then they
have to use words, not
That's what he did. He growled. It just says growl.
Okay, so say he growled.
And then he just sits there like a petulant child. And she's just like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And so then they whisk themselves off to the hospital, and we meet the dad.
Wait, they go to the hospital?
Yeah, because
so he didn't save her.
He saved her, but she smacked her head. And he was like, you have to go to the hospital.
Okay.
And then she meets his dad, because he works at the hospital.
His dad does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her dad is the police chief.
His dad is the guy who was actually a very bad doctor.
Meeting of the Whigs.
Okay.
I hate this actor. That Thorne would call this a Whig meeting. Both of the Coen parents are unbearable. Did you watch Grey's Anatomy?
Yes, wait. When you say it's a wig meeting, does it mean that people are wearing bad wigs? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay, just some context.
We watched a film that was really shitty, and everyone had a really bad wig on, and then we were meeting on a rooftop, and Thorne said, meet me on the roof! It's a wig meeting now! And now, whenever we see someone with a shitty wig, my husband says, it's a wig meeting of the Whigs! Anywho, Grey's Anatomy, when Alec tries to save that woman whose face got smushed by a whole pylon. You remember that?
No.
Oh my god. He falls in love with her. She tries to kill herself a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
That's the woman who plays their mom. I cannot bear her.
It's the same actress?
And I think that's why I can't stand her. Because I couldn't stand her from Grey's Anatomy.
She was so ungrateful after her face got fixed. And there she is again.
Yeah, I think that is
the
probably
same
why.
lady?
I'm just like, ma'am. Also...
How'd you get over here so fast? Well, Seattle's right next door, isn't it?
Right, no, she stayed in Seattle, and also...
She stayed in the area?
She just asked for a wig and got on right over that meeting.
Okay.
I was like, how did you get so many unbearable roles? Anyway, she tries to get him to tell her why he was so fast and so strong, and he won't. And then she dreams of him for the first time.
Is it a wet dream?
No.
Oh, damn.
Him standing in the dark.
Ew!
Guess what?
He was doing it.
He was. He was standing
how
there, smelling her.
My stomach.
Everyone wants to be her friend after the parking lot. Hold that paper. You have to know who everyone is.
I am.
Everyone wants to be her friend. All those people on the friend list.
We're just gonna buzz past the standing in her room?
No, he does that every night for the rest of time.
No!
Yes.
Can she see him?
She doesn't care. Everyone wants to be her friend. More boys love her now than ever. She must have been insufferable, is my note. Mike asks her to the dance. She says, no, go with Jess. Can you imagine your best friend being like, well, he already asked me, but I told him to go with you. Bitch.
Yeah, that's really embarrassing.
Every one of those boys on that list asks her first and then goes and asks her friend. Edward says, it's better if we weren't friends. She says, sorry you regret saving me.
Oh my god.
He goes, I don't regret it. I just can't be around you. It's better if we aren't friends, not that I don't want to be your friend. Eric asks her to the dance. She says, no, go with Angela. Tyler asks her to the dance.
She says, no, go with Angela.
Turns out Edward blocked her
Turns
car.
out Angela has a reverse harem now.
Angela's actually really nice. Edward had blocked her car in so this would happen. He is also laughing.
Blocked her car in so what would happen?
So Tyler would ask her to the dance. Tyler's the one who almost hit her with a car. But Edward had read Tyler's mind and was like, I'm just going to block her car in so Tyler can ask her because I know it bothers her.
He's doing her a solid.
She makes plans to go to Seattle to shop. He offers to drive her. Are you ready for the line that made everyone fall in love?
Spider monkey?
Not that one. I am tired of trying to stay away from you. And but you should stay away from me.
That's it? That's the one? I feel like in the U.S., there's a Dunkin' Donuts with a 27-year-old managing it and a 16-year-old working there after school, and he's using that line on her.
Probably.
To try to get her to do stuff with him.
Probably.
Okay.
Edward sits the next day. Edward skips into school. He sits with Bella at lunch. He says the famous line, I decided as long as I was going to hell, I might as well do it thoroughly. So he's not avoiding her anymore. He's all in.
So he thinks he's going to hell for sitting next to her?
He thinks he's going to hell for, like,
or cause
insinuating himself into her life.
Because he's going to eat her.
Maybe. He's not sure if he's going to eat her. The whole book. The whole book, he's like, maybe I will.
She's like woozy over him, and she thinks that he can't resist her sexually.
If you read Midnight Sun, it has not even occurred to him that she liked him. He's just like, she just likes me because we're alluring to people so that we can...
Okay.
She asks if he is a superhero because he's so fast and strong.
But she's joking, right?
No, he's like, tell me your theories. Like, she's like, well, it has to be something because you ran over there so fucking fast. And he's like, tell me one of your theories. Tell me. And she's like, were you bitten by a radioactive spider? Are you a fucking superhero? And he goes, what if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
Oh, God.
And then he steals...
Oh, that would have worked on me.
I told you it was well written.
That would have worked on me.
He steals her bottle cap from her juice. We find out later he keeps it for the entirety of the whole book.
Ew. You know, it does smell weird after a while.
Oh, he probably washed it. I don't know. He skips science class. She's off to science class. Remember, they always sit in science class together. But then we see why. They're doing blood typing. They're all sticking their fingers because they're going to have a blood drive. And she is just like, bleh, this is the worst thing ever. I'm going to pass out. And Mike's like, oh my God, this is my time to shine because Edward's not here.
Wait, they have the kids pricking each other?
They're like just doing like and then seeing what their blood types are on like a card so that they can go to the blood drive next week.
Okay.
And so like...
That's not how that works.
So then, well, in the 90s it was.
Well, I mean, it does a little bit, but they're not going to take your word for it. They're still going to...
Oh, well, no, this was like a...
Test your blood again.
No, it was like a thing at school. Anyway, okay. So Mike's like, this is my time to shine. Edward's not here. I'm going to take you to the nurse and be like, Lord and Savior. Edward was like, psych, bitch. I was actually just sitting in the car because I could not be in that room while people were sticking their fingers. But I wasn't going to go home, obviously. So he sees him dragging her out of the school and is like, did you kill her? Mike... He goes, give her to me, I'll take her to the nurse. And Mike gets mad as fuck because he wanted to save her. She goes, I'm going to this, like, little weekend thing. We're going to go down to the La Push Beach and have a bonfire. Are you going to come? And he goes, I'm not allowed to go to La Push. Have a good weekend. Bella goes to La Push Beach with her friends. They all surf and flirt. She re-meets Jacob Black and the other wolves. They're not wolves yet. She just, like, meets the other indigenous people. Okay. They're throwing a bonfire. We learn that he just turned 15. Ew.
And so he's 15.
He just turned 15. She's 17. He was 14 5 minutes ago. We hear about the cold ones. So they're sitting around the bonfire. They are telling stories. And the Quileutes, which is the tribe, the native...
I'm sorry, that's a drug from the 70s.
Well, that's how that is, like...
Quaaludes?
Not Quaaludes, Quileutes. Okay. Are telling stories. They tell a story about the cold ones, which was these marble-esque people that used to come to the area, and the wolves used to wolf out and tear them up. She goes back. She goes dress shopping with Jessica and Angela. She is supposed to be staying with them. They are, like, trying on dresses in the movie. There's, like, this scene where Jessica's trying on a dress. Everyone's, like, horrified because they didn't steam the dress. And so it's, like, wrinkled as shit.
No.
She's like, oh yeah, your dresses look great, but I don't want to go to this dance. So actually I just came because I want to go check out this bookstore. So she actually leaves and goes to a bookstore to get a book on the cold ones. And then when she's coming back out of the bookstore, she takes a wrong turn and a bunch of skeezy dudes, reminiscent of the ones who murked Rosalie back in the day, start following her. And then out of nowhere, guess who whips up in his car? And is like, get in the car! And so then she goes to dinner with him instead of her friends.
Ask everybody if they've seen a homeschooler around here.
Right, pretty much. You see a girl in a long jean skirt. They go to eat. The waitress is like, hey, sexy. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, don't talk to me. And he tells her that he can read minds. And she's like, wow. She puts together that he's a vampire, kind of. She's like, your hands are really cold, you drive really fast, you do all this shit. She don't give a fuck. They do this thing in the movie where, like, the next day, she stomps out in the woods and goes, you're impossibly fast and strong. Yeah. And da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, say it. And she's like, a vampire!
Is that not in the book?
Not like that.
Oh, good.
And she goes, are you afraid? And she goes, no. They date. People are dying in the woods, by the way, all this time. Like, side reference. They'll be like, newspaper clippings. They think it's a bear. They think a bear is, like, murdering people randomly.
Oh my god!
She goes to meet his family. She wears a floor-length skirt.
This is so fucking
awful.
Boring. This is like hearing how the two most boring people in your life met.
Boring
and conservative.
She wears a floor...
And they're boring and they don't fuck.
Told you. She wears a floor-length skirt. It's awful. They go to have dinner. And the movie, Rosalie explodes a whole bowl. Because she's like, "Cunt." This is when the spider monkey line happens. He jumps on his back and he jumps into the trees. He goes, hold on tight, spider monkey.
The ick. See,
He's been watching her sleep every day. She does not care.
Hold on, pause.
He shows her the vampire speed. He tells her about all of their powers.
He would have gotten me when he was like, what if I was a villain? I would have been like, ooh. And if he was like, hold on, Spider-Man, I would have been like, ooh, no.
He invites her to play baseball with his family. It goes very bad.
I thought the baseball scene was good.
The baseball scene is good. They only play baseball if it's thundering and lightning because they hit the ball so hard it sounds like thunder.
Okay.
So a big storm's coming. So they go to play baseball. And Jasper's like, ooh, and he does the baseball scene where he flicks the bat and everyone's like, oh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Right? Guess what happens, though? So James, Victoria, and Laurent were running by and they heard the baseball. Who do you think's been murdering all the people in the woods nearby?
Oh, James, Victoria, and Laurent.
No.
I had to pull out my sheet, my reference sheet, and it says Bad Guys Book 1.
So they're all standing in the field and they all go, fuck, we have a person with us. These people are going to want to eat this person that we brought with us.
Oh.
Also, it's like an unspoken thing amongst all vampires that you're not supposed to tell humans that you exist. And so they have to just have a casual person with them.
And do people look different enough that they can tell?
They smell different enough.
Okay.
And her eyeballs don't look weird. So James, who is like a weird obsessive tracker man.
James is Bad Guy Book 1.
Yeah. And then he was like, she smells cool. And then Edward goes, fuck off! And he goes, well, now I'm a killer. And they were like, Edward, if you hadn't said anything, you probably would have left. Turns out, though, that back in the day, James was weird obsessed with Alice. So there's this thing called Le Conte something, and it's called, like, your blood sings for whatever. And they tell you about it, like, later. And that's what Bella, like, why Bella smells so weird.
But does he only smell that way to her?
Right. So,
okay.
like, a person would only... So, Alice smelled that way to James. And so he was like, I'm gonna get this one. And then that random old vampire was like, oh, I like her. And just, like, took her home with him and turned her into a vampire. And James was like, are you fucking kidding? And so, when he saw her in the field, he was, like, mad as shit at their whole family.
Was it the first time he'd seen her since then?
Yeah.
It's a small town, though.
It's not... They're from a different area. They just, like, running through. And happened to hear them playing baseball. And we're like...
happened upon a baseball game in the middle of the forest.
They just run the fuck everywhere. They're just fucking around. They're running around barefoot. You should see the screenshot of them. It's fucking weird. They're just, like, chest out, running in a sheepskin vest.
Dude... Okay.
Okay, so, melee ensues. They figure out how they're gonna do everything. She's like, run home... Fake a fight with Edward in front of Charlie, tell him you're breaking up, and leave town. Run back to your mom's house. So they run back to the mom's house.
Where does the mom live?
The mom is in Florida with the traveling baseball team.
Oh, okay.
But they live in Phoenix.
Okay.
So they're driving to Phoenix in the middle of the night. So half of them are flying. The tracker dude is chasing Edward because he thinks that Bella is with Edward because he's like, there's no way that he would leave her. Mm-hmm. And really, she's with Alice and Jasper. But then the tracker figures out that she left.
And James is really just pissy because he liked Alice. And then Alice had this human, and he was like, I want to eat her.
He was pissy, and then also, he had, like, this competitive weird thing with Edward. He kind of figured out the power dynamic of, like, Edward being, like, really fast, and he thought it would just be fun to dick with them as a group. And since she was the only human there, and back in the day, that random old dude took his human. So then, James decides he will eat Bella or die trying. That's what I wrote. He was like, I will go down with this ship. So everyone runs. They are trying to save her. They end up in Arizona. She evades Alice and Jasper, which is horseshit, because Alice can see every decision anybody makes, and so she tries to do this pussy ass like, what if I change my mind every 5 seconds? You'll never see me running. Bitch, you run slow.
She tries to evade them. Thought she was with them.
He calls her and he's like, I'll kill your mom if you don't come right now.
So she tries to go back.
So in Arizona, he figured out like they were going to Arizona, so he's like, come here right now. So she runs. How do you
get this number?
Right.
Okay.
Who fucking knows? So she runs down the street to the dance studio from when she was a kid. They're all, like, wigging out, because there's, like, 8 of them or whatever, trying to keep her fuck-ass alive! So that's where the clip from the beginning, where she was like, if I had known that this would bring my death, I would have still gone to Forks anyway, was from that scene. So he's got a little camcorder out, and he's like, let's do this, death match. And he's just gonna, like, film himself murdering her in the dance studio.
James?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking weird. And he's like, hi, Edward! I'm a killer.
I mean... Okay.
He, like, breaks her leg, cuts her up, and he's like, they like...
He breaks her leg?
Yeah, he, like, stomps on her leg.
Damn.
And then, like, at the last minute, they all show up, right? Mm-hmm. And then they go, rah, 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 and Jasper and Emmett rip him in half.
Oh.
And set him on fire, and that's the only way you can kill them.
To rip him in half?
Yeah, because they mend back together.
Well, you could rip their heads off.
Yeah, but then you have to set them on fire, or it'll...
Oh, okay.
She's, like, dying. So, like, Carl and Edward are like, we'll save you, like we saved everybody else! Now, in Life and Death, the little weirdos just let it happen. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it turns out that he bit her at the last second. Mm-hmm. But in this book, he chooses to suck all the venom out of her hand so that she won't be a vampire. They take her to the hospital.
What do you mean there was venom in her hand?
I told you he bit her at the last second. So she was turning into a vampire. Alice fabricated a bunch of evidence. She stole a bunch of blood from a blood bank and threw it down the stairs at a hotel. And she was like, you fell down the stairs at the hotel. That's why your leg is broken. I loved it. It was so good.
So she doesn't remember?
No, but that's what they told her parents and stuff. That's what they told everyone else. They were like, she fell through a plate glass window down 2 flights of stairs. She rented a car. She stole some blood.
But what was the reason they gave her parents for the reason she was at the hotel?
He brought a chaperone. She had, like, stormed off and her mom wasn't in town, so he had brought his dad and they were going to try and tell her that she should just come home, and that was a stupid fight because he's a good boy.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, so she's fine. They go to prom and she goes, you should have let me become a vampire. And he goes, no.
Fuck off.
He is incredibly detached. Every day they get up and go to school. I don't know why people write that into stuff. She has a birthday. At her birthday, she cuts her hand. Paper cut. Jasper tries to eat her. She gets slashed on a whole cup because in trying to save her, Edward pushes her into the punch bowl, which makes it worse. And then they all storm out because no one can handle that amount of blood. And it ruins the whole birthday. And then Edward is fucking mad as shit. After he comes back from that, cleaning up the blood in the carpet, he's a fifth more detached than possible and gaslighty as shit. I hate it. It's so bad. He's just like, she's like, I love you. And he goes, uh-huh. And she goes, kiss me. It's my birthday. And he goes, do you want it to be your birthday or not? Which is just horrible.
What the fuck does that
Because she
mean?
was like, oh, don't make a big deal on my birthday. And he's like, okay, I won't. And then she was like, well, can you give me a kiss? It's my birthday. And he goes, do you want it to be your birthday or not? And I'm like, bitch, fuck, what? And it's horrible. It's so horrible. Then he goes, let's go for a walk. Okay. So he goes, let's go for a walk. And then he walks out into the woods. And then he goes, we're all leaving. And she goes, okay, great. I'll pack my bag. And he goes, not you. And she goes, what? And he goes, we're all leaving and you have to stay here. Right here.
In the woods?
In the woods. And she goes, why? And he's like, because you are not a part of my world.
I hate him.
Right? And she was like, I didn't agree to be just being a person.
I'm just
Right, people make decisions together and shit. And he was like, no, your life was good before we got here. She was like, it actually wasn't great. But okay. So then he just walks away, and we're supposed to believe that was really hard for him. So
fuck
he
off.
leaves. She falls down. Then she lays in the ground and cries and doesn't move.
And this is where Jacob finds her?
Jacob doesn't find her. One of the other wolves does.
Okay.
They're all looking for her. She was gone for like a whole day.
Oh
she was just laying in the ground in the woods.
Oh my
screaming and crying. It was
Horrifying.
terrible. They all thought she was dead somewhere. She screams and cries for a whole week. Like, screams murder. Like, Charlie thought she was dying. She's a whole zombie for like 3 whole months.
Is that longer than they dated?
No, they dated for a whole year. They don't return. She keeps trying to find them. She re-befriends and now 16-year-old Jacob for a third time. They spend all their time together. People are still dying in the woods, by the way.
Does anyone look into it?
Yeah, her dad is the police chief, and he's
just not very good at it?
Vampires are better at killing people than people are at finding out who's killing the people.
Evidently.
The wolves are getting weird. Bella keeps acting really hella reckless so that she can see Edward in her weird dreams. She's like, if I walk too close to the side of the road and a car zooms by, he appears to me and says, back up.
In real life or in her dreams?
She sees like in real life. If she does dangerous shit, she like sees a vision of him being like, quit that.
Okay.
Mike is still sniffing around for a date, which is horrible because Jessica likes him and they've been dating for a while. They go as a threesome to the movies, which is horrible. Because
her and Mike and Jessica, or
her Mike and Jacob. Jacob Jacob is 16, but he is the size of Jason Momoa. The whole time they're sitting there, they're both trying to hold her hand.
No.
Mike gets sick and has to go home. Jacob's like, oh, he should be a real man, and he's not.
Thank goodness for that.
Right.
Kill.
Jacob suddenly gets sick. He gets the weird sickness and joins the gang.
I get it. He's a werewolf.
Okay.
I did know that.
Okay.
I didn't know Edward was a vampire, but I knew Jacob was a werewolf.
She crashes. Oh, at one point she crashes their little motorcycle that they were riding and like smacks her head. And then Edward's like, oh, "Don't do that. It's dangerous." And she's like, "But it's the only way I can see you."
If he can't read her mind,
how is she seeing her weird visions of him?
Yeah,
she's conjuring him up in her crazy.
Oh, so that's not him.
No. It's just a memory of him.
I thought that was going to be like him.
He isn't in almost this whole movie, so you realize that this man had to come in just for that. Just to do the weird ghost vision.
I thought that was going to be like telepathy.
Okay, so she is, Jacob turns into a werewolf and will not hang out with her. She feels abandoned again. She's weirdly attached to him for him being 16. But
is she 18?
She is about to turn 18. And then she says, "Oh, it's a werewolf!" And then he can tell her stuff. And so then he's like, "Yeah, we only turn into werewolves when there's a bunch of cold ones around. And look, now there's a fuckload of werewolves. Wonder why that is."
So, it's like not voluntary?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Well, now they can turn whenever they want, but they don't initially... Like, it's been several generations since there's been a bunch of them, and now there's, like, a bunch.
So, basically, the Cullens come into town because they're bored. And then because they're there, all of the werewolves develop this weird mutation.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck out of here.
I know. Yeah. Pretty much. Well, no, actually, it turns out that it's not the Cullens. It's, like, Victoria James and Laurent. It's the murdering, because the Cullens don't eat people. They become friends for a 4th time! She still does weird, dangerous shit. She decides to go cliff jumping, which she saw the indigenous children doing, but she didn't ask anyone how to do it, and so she just pulls over to the side of the road one day leaps off a random cliff, it's in a storm. She smacks her head on a rock. Jacob goes to save Bella. When they get to the house, Alice is at their house. They haven't seen Alice in a hot minute. Even though she called and called and called. And she goes, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" Alice goes, "I thought you were dead." She goes, "Well, this is awkward, because I honestly just came to help Charlie plan your funeral. I need to make a call." Edward has crushed his phone. He cannot take that call. So he goes, "I'm gonna go to Italy and kill myself." So he goes to, like, their weird religious people, the Volturi, and he's like, "Can you please off me? My girlfriend died." And they go, "No." And so he goes, "Fine, I'm gonna break a rule, so you have to murk me." And so he's like, his big plan is to expose himself, not nudie. He's gonna just step out into the light of day. They race to Italy in a fancy yellow sports car to save Edward. He's going to expose himself to the Volturi. She makes it with like 15 seconds to spare. He thinks he dies because she's suddenly there, and he thinks that they're in heaven because he thinks she's dead. They're not dead. Then they go home. They were set free. They were like, "Okay, we won't kill you. Go home to your love. We'll talk to you later." Jacob is mad as hell. He goes, "Did you turn her into a vampire when you were gone? You're not allowed to do that. It's against the code. If you break the werewolf rules, they're allowed to come and kill you all." The vampires. The vampires and the werewolves have a rule set. Bella is grounded for going to Italy without asking. They go into the next book. They're all coexisting. Edward and Jacob work out a shared custody of Bella like she is a toddler from a one-night stand. They drive her to the border of the reservation, and then he gets her in his car.
Really?
Yes!
No!
Yes. They work out that Victoria is the one that's out for revenge because she and James were in love, and she's mad that he's dead. So she's the one that's been low-key just murdering people in the background of everything this whole time. There are even more wolves now, including all of Stephenie Meyer's sons. A bunch of people are murdered in Seattle, and then there are baby vampires running all over the place. Alice puts together that the Volturi are going to come to Seattle and do something about it.
As they should.
Right. Bella keeps trying to fuck Edward. Bella keeps trying to fuck. Edward is like, "No thanks. I'm an old-fashioned man."
Wait, when you say she's trying to fuck, does she like stick her hand out of his pants?
Yes. Like, she's always, like, jumping on him. He put a bed in... Okay, he had a bedroom that didn't have a bed in it. It was just, like, one couch and then, like, a whole wall of CDs. And then he put a bed in his room just for when she came over. Because he was like, "You're a human. You need to sleep sometimes." And then when he...
Do they not sleep?
No. And when it's his nights and weekends with her, she was supposed to sleep in the bed. And then she's like, "Come lay in the bed with me." And then she, like, tries to, like, sit in his lap and shit.
Do they kiss and stuff?
Yeah. But anytime...
Does she sleep in Jacob's bed, too?
She doesn't sleep in his bed, but...
Because werewolves sleep, right?
Yes.
But she doesn't sleep in Jacob's bed?
She slept on his couch once. Bella keeps trying to fuck. Edward is like, no thanks, I'm an old-fashioned boy. Let's get hitched. Jacob kisses Bella on one of his...
Whoa. He says, let's get married?
Yeah.
Are they still in high school?
No, they graduated right here. She says, fine, but don't tell anyone. Spoiler, he does tell.
God damn it.
He waits and tries to get Jacob to cry. It definitely works, and they have a weird face-off. Jacob kisses Bella on one of these weird little mommy turnover at the border things. She punches him.
He's so much hotter than the guy actor-wise. I don't know if,
He...
in real life.
I don't know if it's the age thing that I just can't. That was, for me, it was just like, no. Like, I was so upset by the weird age that I was like, absolutely not.
Perpetually 17 was...
No, the fact that Jacob was supposed to be 15, that I was absolutely not.
Oh, no.
That, for me, I couldn't look at him at all.
Sorry.
I was like, absolutely not.
What I mean is that Taylor Lautner is a babe.
Oh. The Volturi are arriving. They've decided that they're all going to fight they're going to do a face-up with the Volturi, and they're going to fight Victoria's weird baby vampire army. It's probably going to happen either the same day or one day after another. They don't want Bella to be there because Victoria might kill Bella, so she's going to go camping with Edward up on this mountain. She's like, I don't want Jacob to die either because I love everyone equally. So he goes up there with them.
Just her and her two boyfriends again.
It's too cold because they're camping in Seattle. So she is chilling with Jacob. She's like asleep and they're like talking. They're having that weird tent face off. And he's like, I think I could have made her happy if you just left or like stayed gone. And he's like, you probably could have. They wake up in the morning and she goes, thanks for the space heaterness or whatever. And then he goes, it's all good. I don't care that you had to like sit with him even though he is warmer because you agreed to marry me. And Jacob like loses his mind. They kiss again. What? And he leaves and it's terrible. And he's sad. Or she's sad.
But this time she's a willing participant in the kissing?
Kind of.
Well, I mean, at least he gives her some. So
then they have the big fight with all the baby vampires who they're murdering. Edward rips Victoria's head off, so we're down. We don't have Victoria, and we don't have James. Dead. The Volturi, again, go, you handled this well. We're not going to mete out a punishment on you again. We'll save that for later. And they leave. Again. Peace at last, ? They tell Charlie they're gonna get married. And he goes, you're too young!
And he's correct. They are too young.
There's a show called Elementary that I love, and the reference is, I do not know why they could not have come out with some kind of three-way arrangement, and I very much agree. Because if Edward, Bella, and Jacob had just all gotten together, we wouldn't have to do any of this.
Yeah, and there would have been a little guy-on-guy stuff too,
Some people do it that way and some people don't.
Oh.
Okay, last one. We're all done.
Jesus.
This one is the shortest fucking one because it's the worst one ever.
This is mine.
First off, now you know how I felt with that other book because that was the fucking longest thing ever. And it turned out fine. And this is literally 5 whole books, and it's literally almost the same length as your one.
I don't think I can edit this.
You're so full of shit.
I don't think I can edit this.
This is Breaking Dawn Part 1.
I think I can just tell you what happened.
She is worried about being old.
Oh my god, wait a second. He was like, hey, will you marry me? And then what?
And that's it.
And he didn't say like, hey, let's make a plan to turn you or anything.
Nope.
He just said, will you marry me?
He said, marry me. And she was like,
oh, what a fucking...
Skirt. Wait, he actually doubles down because she's like, I want to fuck and I want to be a vampire. And he's like, I just want to be married. And you can't have either of the things you want until I get the one thing I want. So he is a loser.
Can the werewolves turn people to werewolves?
No.
So if she ended up with Jacob, he would just have to never turn and grow old with her.
Yes.
But then how does he get with the Loch Ness Monster?
He can just keep turning until she gets the same age as him. She's very worried about being old. She is only 19, and she's like, every day that passes, I'm older than you!
She's 2 years older than him already, and he's just like, I'll stay young forever.
He's a hundo. He don't care, though.
Fuck you.
They make a deal that he will let her be a vampire, but she wants to fuck first as a person.
That's fair.
And he says, well, I'm not gonna fuck you till we're married, so see the steps. The two of them are always almost fucking.
Do they do hand stuff?
No. Over the pants.
Okay.
They get married, they fuck, she immediately gets pregnant. It's disgusting.
So she's not turned yet.
No. Everyone loses their shit. The baby's name is Rhinocerosaurus. Jacob is livid. He's like, I'll kill y'all. They offer to they're like, if you let us kill the baby, you can have a baby with him instead.
Wait, if you let us kill who?
That's what they tell Bella.
If they let the werewolves kill the baby?
No, Edward tells her, if you let us kill this kid, I'll let you have a kid with him.
If you let us kill what kid?
The rhinoceros.
Wait. Edward wants to kill the rhinoceros?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he thinks it's gonna kill her.
Oh, because she's still human.
Yeah.
Oh. So he says he'll let her fuck Jacob?
Yeah. He's literally
Girl,
like, he's
that's a
like,
deal.
he goes,
That's a deal.
literally anything at this point is a better idea than this.
That's a bargain.
He goes, you can have a kid with him. And Jacob's like, I don't know about that, but probably
So
anything's a better
He
idea.
wants her to have an abortion?
Their version of it?
If
I don't
they do that, does she have to burn the fetus?
I don't know. No one knows. It is not legal in vampire world to make vampire kids. So there's one lady was going around like eating, making children into vampires,
Right.
and you can't control them because they're like toddlers. So if they throw a tantrum, they like eat a whole village.
Right.
So you can't make those. She almost dies, but she doesn't. She has the kid. They make her into a vampire. They have a kid now. Edward can hear her thoughts now, and that is just what he wanted. Always wanted. But only sometimes. The kid grows super fast. They fuck constantly. She loves being a vampire. It turns out they found another person who was also a vampire child. There's this thing about the eternal children. They have this friend. Her mom had made eternal children, and so she was murdered by the Volturi. And so someone goes, they made an eternal baby! And so the Volturi show up a third time, and they're like, third time's strike, we're gonna kill the whole Cullen family. And they're like, it's not an eternal baby, it's a baby! And they were like, I don't believe you. And so then they were like, here's some pictures of it from before, and like, here's a memory of it from before, and shit. And so they're like showing him evidence. The Volturi return, you can't have that fucking baby. They want Alice and Bella on Team Volturi. So they're like, we're gonna kill the Cullens and take these two special ladies.
Why would they be on your team if you killed their husband?
Well, if you put them in jail long enough, they're like, we're gonna kill them, take you, and you're gonna sit here long enough. Like, time is not a thing. We're gonna be alive for 2,000 years. In 200 years, you might not care anymore.
Time is on their side.
They end up only killing the lady who came and told them that was an eternal baby because she wasted their sky miles. They leave after all that work and all those sky miles. That was bullshit again. They kind of have the illusion that they're going to return the next time you fuck up. And then you get the happily ever after, which is that dumb fucking page you read.
Their little piece of forever. It's a big ass piece of forever. Let me tell you where they are now. Okay. Jacob and Rhinoceros. They've got no contact with their toxic parents.
Oh my god. With his ex-girlfriend and her dad.
No, his mother and father-in-law.
His ex-girlfriend and her dad.
They are now his in-laws. They've gone no contact with those toxic people. Bella and Edward.
Oh, and Charlie still sees them.
Are very...
He's just like, why are they looking weird?
They're getting older. No, they're not getting older because they're always young, but they're like those conservative parents that are so tone deaf, and they're like, why did my kids go no contact with me? I gave them nothing but love. But that's not true because they try to push their jean skirts onto
every day
her
you go
and
on.
him. They're like, we stayed pure, you should stay pure, and they do that to Jacob and Rhinoceros, and that's where they are now. There's only you started off with 50,000 people. There's really only 4 people to do a Where Are They Now on, and I feel like Jacob is very supportive of the weird Loch Ness monster that he's now married to. They've cut off her
I feel like
toxic
they could have
parents.
very easily, instead of calling her Renesmee, called her Carly.
Carly!
Because Carlisle and Charlie is Carly.
What about Charlisle?
And then the doll, the doll, right? That they use, the animatronic doll they made, is melting in the Twilight Museum.
And then Alice is like the more progressive aunt who is like tries to be nice and mend fences, but they're like, have you met those people? Have you seen her jean skirts? They're having none of it.
That was the whole Twilight experience. Horrible.